Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something pretty dynamic in finance,
Yeah.
the future of trading. Specifically, we're looking at expert advisors, EAs.
Ah, right. Algorithmic trading.
Exactly. And, if you think these are just for the big institutions, well, maybe think again. They're becoming much more relevant for individual investors, for you.
That's absolutely right. We've been looking at this interesting report, The Future of Trading Innovations Shaping the Next Generation of EAs. It's from Trading Desk Faida Ventures Ltd.
Okay.
And it really paints a picture of a big transformation.
Yeah.
Automation, AI. It's changing how financial markets work.
Right. So let's try and unpack this a bit. Our mission for this deep dive really is to get a handle on the key innovations driving this EA evolution.
hmm
We want to cut through the jargon, the complexity, and figure out what these shifts actually mean for you, the individual investor, trying to, navigate it all.
And one of the most striking things, really, is how these systems are making decisions now. It's a fundamental shift.
Oh,
Well, the report highlights this move away from the old-style rule-based EAs, the ones that just follow a fixed set of instructions.
yeah, like if this happens, do that. Pretty rigid.
Exactly. Now we're seeing EAs that use machine learning.
Okay, machine learning.
Yeah.
So they're not just executing a preset plan.
Mhm.
They're actually learning, adapting.
That's the core of it. It's a huge difference. These newer systems, they can analyze just vast amounts of data.
Like what kind of data?
Historical price action, loads of
Okay.
economic indicators, news feeds, stuff a human trader just couldn't possibly process in real time.
Right.
And because they can do that, they can dynamically adjust their strategies.
Dynamically adjust, meaning.
Meaning they can fine-tune when they enter a trade, when they exit, even how much money, how much capital to put on a position. They're constantly refining things based on what the market's actually doing right now.
Wow.
It's this ability to learn from massive data sets, spot patterns maybe humans miss,
Yeah.
that gives a potential edge. It used to be just the big firms with huge resources could do this.
That sounds like a massive step up from the old EAs, like having a trading partner that's constantly getting smarter.
Precisely. The report calls it a significant leap for retail traders. Imagine a system that isn't just stuck on one strategy when the market changes, but actually learns and adapts its tactics.
Okay, that's fascinating. Now, the report also mentioned something. Multi-asset, multi-time frame intelligence. That sounds quite complex. What's that about?
It sounds fancy, but the idea is about breadth.
Yeah.
Future EAs won't just be stuck on, say, one currency pair.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to operate across different kinds of assets, stocks, forex, commodities, you name it. And, critically, across different time frames, too.
Time frames, like short-term versus long-term.
Exactly. From, intraday charts looking at minutes up to daily or even weekly charts for longer-term views. It's like a forecaster looking at all sorts of data points across time and space to predict your local weather.
So you could have one EA potentially trading, say, stocks on a daily chart and maybe Forex on an hourly chart all at the same time.
Potentially, yes. That's the direction. And it goes further. The report suggests they could even track correlations between assets.
Correlations like how oil prices might affect an airline stock.
Sort of, yeah. Or how two currencies often move together. Or maybe in opposite directions. The EA could factor that in. It could even adjust its behavior depending on the trading session. Act differently during London hours versus New York hours.
Okay, so for you listening, the potential upside here seems to be, well, more opportunities across different markets and maybe better risk management too, spreading things out.
That's the idea. Increased profit potential from broader exposure and, yes, better risk diversification because you're not tied to just one thing.
Now let's talk risk. Equity-based risk governance. That sounds different from just setting a stop loss on a trade.
It is quite different. Traditionally, yeah, EAs often use stop losses or take profits for each individual trade.
Right. You try to limit the damage or lock in profit on that specific position.
Exactly. The shift here is towards managing risk at the level of your entire account, your overall equity.
Okay, so looking at the health of the whole pot of money, not just individual bets.
Precisely. It involves things like setting overall equity thresholds. So if your account drops below a certain level, maybe the EA pauses trading altogether.
A kind of Matlder safety switch.
Sort of. And drawdown buffers limiting the total percentage dip your account can take. Even setting overall growth targets for the portfolio.
Interesting.
The report mentions Faida Ventures specifically developing these equity-based models. The focus is portfolio-wide risk management. It can also, potentially help with the psychological side for traders. Less focus on every single up and down.
More focus on the long-term health of the capital, that makes sense. A more holistic approach.
It aims to be a more robust way to protect capital, yes, a more resilient layer.
Okay. The report also mentions decentralized and cloud-based execution. Why is the where it runs important?
Well, think about how many traders run EAs now. Often it's on their own computer, right? Using platforms like MT4 or MT5.
Yeah, you need your PC on, connected to the internet.
Right. And that has limitations. What if the power goes out or your internet drops? Cloud-hosted and decentralized systems get around that.
So the EA can just run continuously in the cloud 24/7 without needing your home setup.
Exactly. Plus, you can access it from anywhere.
Yeah.
And crucially, for some strategies, it offers potentially lower latency, faster execution.
I can see the
Yeah.
delay between the signal and the trade happening.
Yes. In really fast markets, even milliseconds can matter. Tiny delays can impact your results significantly.
So for anyone using, say, very short-term, high-frequency type strategies, this kind of cloud infrastructure is pretty much essential.
It really is becoming that way. For many advanced systems, downtime or lag just isn't an option.
Now, another really intriguing bit, integrated risk and sentiment analysis, incorporating news, social media. How does that work?
This is where the intelligence really comes in. These future EAs, they're being designed to process a much wider range of stuff in real time. News headlines, data releases from economic calendars, even sentiment. The general mood, gathered from places like Twitter, Bloomberg feeds, that kind of thing.
Okay, give me an example. How would an EA use, say, Twitter sentiment?
Okay, imagine there's a big central bank announcement coming up. High stakes.
Right. Always volatile.
An EA with this integration might detect rising uncertainty or nervousness in news flow and social media chatter leading up to it. So what does it do? Maybe it automatically reduces its position sizes.
Lower risk before the event.
Exactly. Or it might even pause trading temporarily to avoid getting caught in sharp, unpredictable moves. Or, flip side, if sentiment around a particular stock suddenly turns very positive or negative based on news or online buzz, the EA could adjust its trading bias for that stock.
So these EAs aren't just looking at charts anymore. They're factoring in the news cycle, the market mood, the whole narrative.
That's the goal, to make decisions that are much more context-aware, more adaptive to the whole environment, not just the price.
So pulling back a bit, what's the big picture here? What does this report suggest for the future, especially for individual investors like our listeners?
Well, the report really emphasizes that the future is about intelligent automation, adaptive, risk-aware.
Okay.
And it frames this as a potentially huge opportunity. They actually use the phrase once-in-a-generation opportunity for individual investors.
To compete more effectively with the big players.
Potentially, yes. To level the playing field somewhat, perhaps.
But there's always a but in markets, isn't there? The report does mention needing the right systems and strategies.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
Having access to these fancy tools is one thing. Knowing how to use them effectively, making sure they fit your own goals, your own tolerance for risk, that's key.
Right.
And obviously the report is from trading desk Faida Ventures Ltd, and they are involved in building these kinds of tools.
Okay, and before we wrap up, we absolutely must include a very important disclaimer.
Yes, vital. Please understand, everyone listening, that everything we've talked about today is purely for educational purposes.
It is not financial advice.
Definitely not. And the source report itself notes that Faida Ventures Ltd is not a regulated financial entity.
So the main takeaway for you, the listener, is this. Always, always consult with a qualified, licensed financial advisor before you make any investment decisions. Nothing here is a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold anything.
Couldn't stress that enough. That's the most critical point.
Okay, so just to quickly recap the ground we've covered, we've seen this shift toward AI driving strategy optimization.
Making them learn and adapt.
We've talked about multi-asset, multi-time frame intelligence, trading more things, more ways.
Right, broadening the scope.
Then there's that equity-based risk management, looking at the whole account.
Managing risk holistically.
The move to cloud and decentralized execution for reliability and speed.
The essential infrastructure.
And finally, integrating real-time news and sentiment, making EAs more aware.
Yeah, bringing in that wider context, all pointing towards, potentially, a much more sophisticated toolkit for individual investors.
A powerful toolkit, yes. But, as we said, using it wisely requires informed choices, understanding the tech.
Absolutely.
So, maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. With all these advancements in automation and AI, What new skills, what new knowledge might you, as an individual investor, need to really thrive in this future trading landscape?
Hmm.
How might you need to adapt your own approach? It might be interesting, actually, to explore some of these ideas further. The Faida Ventures Ltd. YouTube channel, that's at Faida Ventures, delves into some of these concepts. Again, not investment advice, just exploring the tech.
It's definitely a field that's moving fast.
Mhm.
Staying informed, being adaptable,
Mhm.
it's going to be key for anyone involved.
Indeed. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. Until next time.